Welcome to Uncontained episode 158. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and on the show today, I speak with musician Gustavo Bulgach. He's the frontman, clarinet player, and saxophone player in the band Klezmer Juice. And you may have seen them if you ever watched this little known movie called Wedding Crashers with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. They're the band that plays live in that movie. I'm sure you'll recognize it. And this is a great conversation that I have with Gustavo. And, it actually spills into two episodes. Normally, sit down, talk to my guests about an hour. We just kept on going. Before I knew it, it was 2 hours up, so I had to break it down into little bite-sized morsels for you. We talk about him getting started with an Elton John figure of South America, which he calls Eltano Jano, just a little alias there for you. But then he talks about playing once he got, but after a while he became a member of the International House of Blues Foundation Band, which, served as the house band for a lot of musicians that came through and needed a band to play with them. And he got to play with Little Richard, Taj Mahal, Benny Maupin, who became one of his mentors, and also, Prince and Slash. And those names like that. He got to play alongside them on stage at jams that normally had 25 superstars on stage at once. But I won't tell you all about it. And yes, this intro is getting a little long because this interview was a little crazy and filled with many quotes, I believe, and filled with many quotable moments. So I won't keep you waiting any longer. This is part one with Gustavo Bulgach of Klezmer Juice right here on Uncontained.
Great. Thank you very much for having Aaron. My last name is Bulgach, like the writer Mikhail Bulgakov, but get the off. I learned my lesson and I changed it into Bulgi.
Bulgy?
And so it's easier because it's a long story. But long story short, we are every member in my family is being called by their friends for the last name. So every one of us is
Okay.
Bulgach. So when they used to call on my home phone and pick up the phone, said, "Hey, is Bulgach there?" And they said, "Which one of them?" There are five of them. So, but in Argentina, it was much easier to pronounce. But when I moved to LA, I moved to New York first in '92. I got a scholarship to go to actually Boston to a school of music, and but I landed in New York because I at the time was very good friends with Branford Marsalis. So he
Okay.
negotiated me uh, to get a scholarship in a school in Boston. I landed in New York, stayed with him for a few weeks, and then he moved west to do the Tonight Show. Remember when the whole band in '92? Anyway, so
Yeah.
I ended up living with another friend named Paul in New York and having a great time. So when it was a time for me to move to Boston to go to school, I just moved to Boston. It just was not really happening. It wasn't happening. So I came back a few days later. So I show up to my old roommate's Paul's house, and he said, "Wow, what are you doing here?" I said, I had to come back to New York." And he said, how long were you in school?" And I said, 4 days. And he
4
said,
days. You made that decision
and he
quick.
said, 4 days too many. But not because of school. I always believed in education, but to me, education, especially in the arts, comes in two ways. One is through education and the experimentation of that education, meaning you go to music school, you play all day long, and you experiment with other people. You play things, you arrange things. That's beautiful, but also from
Yeah.
experience, which is the most crucial thing. I am a big believer of rescuing that experience. not only of your own experience, but if you're really smart, you rescue other people's experience and you learn from that, which is the ultimate conclusion of every endeavor, to learn something, right? Even in
Yeah.
a hard
Yeah.
time, you have to force yourself to learn something. And for example, I was born in Argentina and I play in Argentina. Um, Almost out of being a teenager at 18, I was already playing, but I got hired by a singer like Elton John, right? A singer songwriter with a piano and a band.
You got hired by Elton
No,
John?
by somebody like Elton John of Argentina, to get you a perspective
Okay.
of who that person was. And I
Okay.
was like,
The Argentinian Elton John. Gotcha.
Elton John, Elton John.
Elton John. All right.
So
Perfect.
Elton John came across at a moment that I really needed money because I was going to medical school and I was absolutely broke. And uh, music already saved me once, but at this time, when this situation came across, it really saved me because I didn't want to drop all my artistic side and just enjoy, medicine. And so it was always on that edge of the sword, right? I always skate on the edge of the sword. And
Okay.
the edge of the sword is, when you get used to it, it's very nice. You don't need any drugs. You just, right on the edge of the sword. That's all the drugs you need because it's so uncertain. So I ended up playing for this guy in Argentina for like 7 years. Well,
Very
dropped out
cool.
of medicine and got into psychology, and finally dropped out of school altogether because school is way different, and at that moment in Argentina was highly politicized, and I have no political inclination, a highly humanistic inclination, but I have no favor to anybody. So this El Tono Giano, right?
Elton
El
John,
Tono
yes.
Giano saved me and taught me a lot because I thought, whoa, here we go. I am 18 years old and I got to go on tour with this guy and whatever. But we barely worked because he didn't have an album out. So he started saving money from the little shows we had and put out an album. And that album got like 4 songs in the top 10 in Argentinian charts at the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so we went from no gigs to like 120 gigs a year. So it was
Uh,
justified to drop off out of anything else and continue with this, which is a very nomad life. Um, but at 20, from 18 to 20 something, it was fantastic. It was great. I learned a lot. But at the same time, I was coming back home to continue with my education in terms of like um, not going to school, but going to private lessons with teachers that became mentors
okay.
more than just teaching. One thing is to go to a teacher, another thing is to really find a mentor, somebody you want to look like, not in terms of the appearance, but how you want to sound like, how you want to behave like. This person was really strict, and El Tono Jono was even more strict. So anybody
Really?
thinking like I was like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll is looking south because to us was the most extreme and profound this self-discipline uh, experience because you had to get on with the program. And this El Tono Jono did not like even tobacco cigarettes, so imagine what comes if he will find. So anyway, he became really popular, we became very popular, and what happened was we had more responsibilities. Why? Because let's say I'm drunk at a bar and I break
Yeah.
into a fight. The police comes and gets me. They don't get Gustavo, Bulgach, this whatever. They get the saxophone player from El Tono Jono. So El Tono Jono had this zero tolerance law, and I have learned so much. Everything to me was amazing because I I started at the same time going to a really great music teacher who taught me not only saxophone, clarinet, and flute, but also life and uh, forwarded me to or referred me to a piano teacher that also taught me arrangements and piano. So I was getting my education as much as I was getting, the mentorship from these people. So I was really, living very exciting stuff, you know
Yeah.
very exciting, investing my money and asking my dad for loans to get more saxophones and stuff that I needed. So when El Tono Jono hired me, I only play alto saxophone, but very shortly after we made a deal that he will pay me more money if I bring more saxophones. So I ended up playing keyboards, electronic saxophone or the iwi, uh, alto, soprano, and tenor saxophone, and flute.
Electric saxophone?
You
Is
know
that
that
like
controller, that iwi thing. So I was playing keyboard, and I also play keyboard sounds with the wind controller that in the late
okay.
'80s looked very nice, and to me was fantastic. I was, I just walk into the band with one instrument, and in no more than maybe 2 years, and within 2 years, I started bringing more and more instruments, and I was enjoying it. I don't care if people thought whatever, and we had a great time. Everything was great.
So you're on the road with Elton Jono,
Yeah.
touring around, not living the sex, drugs, and rock and roll style, but just the rock and roll part of it, and learning all sorts of instruments. So how long from when you were with Elton Jono until you started up Kelsmer?
What I did was, this mentor I told you that started teaching me many other instruments. At some point, he said, "Well, now you're gonna have to think about your own career. What do you want to do with your own career? This opportunity of exposure is great, but it's just exposure. It's like, we call it like footprints in the water. Like it just really does not last for more than what it is. So when you step on water, is at the moment you step on water is over. So you need to create another footprint and so forth. And we had, I'm gonna share with you and with everybody something that is
All right.
to me a very important motto. When people say that the opportunity is like a train that comes to you and you gotta catch it,
Yeah.
that's true. But according to my mentors, the train comes at 500 miles an hour. So if you're standing still, it runs over you, my friend. You have to be in motion. You have to be in such a fast motion yourself that when you jump into the train of opportunity, you almost at the same speed.
Okay, that's actually really good advice because it can pass you by.
It passes you
But
by all the time. You are just not at that speed and unable to jump into that opportunity. But opportunities are like rain, it flows constantly. You need to concentrate on you. Why? The only way to succeed. Another one Bramford Marsalis quote, and he's gonna kill me for this, but this is his quote. He says, "When they call you, they give you a lot of money. When you call them, they give you nothing. So you have to force yourself to make them call you. Because
okay.
if you call them, it will be no money involved."
Yeah, because they know you're desperate, you're looking for something, and like when they come to you, they're like wanting you, and you might not necessarily at that point need them and have other options. If that's how I'm interpreting that correctly, or no?
You, my friend, are so wise. Get it into your own self and work with it every day. It's like win in yourself. Because the whole idea for this conversation is to encourage people to move on, to move ahead, never stay still. This art form of anything you want to manifest in your life, performing. Let's talk about performing. That the fact of like you can record or videotape does not permit you or allow you to rest on your shoulders about performing. Performance has to happen all the find another venue to perform again, and find a place that will give you 4 Thursdays in a row to perform, but do never stop performing. Why? because you are changing all the time, but only changing when you perform. The other
Yeah.
thing is just in your head.
You're saying the only time you really have growth is when you're out there doing it, not just thinking about it.
Thinking about it is fantastic. That is step number one. Then the action has to follow.
Okay. All
You
right.
really need to risk yourself everywhere you go and sweat and not be able to sleep the night before and neither be able to sleep the night after. Why? Because that energy is what gonna get you uh, to the next one and to the next one. You know, if it's money driven, you're you know, success. Like your success will be reflected on how much money you make. Sometimes you won't really, you know, go to banking. It reward you more in money. I mean, you know, if you really want to find the treasure chest uh, in your life, go where you know gold is much likely to be found. But this art form is for you, and is for you to give, never to get. Whoever you think I'm getting something out of this is a fool. You give, you give, 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 give. The more you give, the more room you have to get new things.
I like that. I like that. But you said the more you give, the more you have to get new things, though. Could you
No, the
explain
more
that a
room
little bit
you have
more?
in your life to get new things in you. You know, you're not a hard drive that gets full and that's it. You are a breathing, living being that every time gives energy out, gets some energy back in. Like a
Definitely.
musician, when you, this is why klezmer juice came about. And the idea of klezmer juice is the Jewish soul music platform for me. I don't want to get stuck in that. I don't want to be part. I don't know if you heard the music I play. I play the music with one foot in tradition and the other foot on the now.
Just so people know, Kelsmer is actually a style of music, correct?
At
Correct?
this moment, it is because, you know, klezmer is the name of they gave to the Yiddish musician, but then it evolved, and like everything else, klezmer is like an umbrella. You know, when they said, "I'm gonna go dance salsa music," oh, let's go salsa. Okay, you go salsa. But if you're interested in the music, then you look at it and then you understand that is salsa is just an umbrella. Inside of that umbrella is guaguancó, merengue, paso doble, bolero, and so forth. So
Yeah.
yeah, klezmer is the same thing. Now they call klezmer to that umbrella of Jewish soul music. Is cantorial, is the old school, is the bar mitzvahs, is the weddings, is the new stuff, is the crazy schmucks, and it's like taking it to the moon and back. It's all of that and the Sephardic included. And for people who don't really know, Israeli music included too. So everything related with Jewish experience is what I call klezmer.
Okay.
So my Jewish experience is started as a young kid with my brother going to my grandfather's synagogue in Argentina and watching this 11-piece Yiddish band going from Friday night to Sunday night playing weddings and bar mitzvahs and whatever at the same location because the synagogue at the time was the center of the social life. So my brother and I thought they were like the Rolling Stones time a million. Seriously, you're laughing, but you know, if you think the music has a lot of energy today, imagine kids in like 7 8 years old or 5 6, you know, watching these guys like wearing tuxedos and sweating, but playing music and people dancing like crazy. So that's what I got from the very beginning. To me, music is the soundtrack of happiness,
I like that.
is the soundtrack of life, like is the blues. You know, the blues. Fast forwarding again, I'm landing in LA. I'm moving out of New York. I'm landing in LA. I'm playing with a bunch of friends. I'm working with other artists, Latin artists, and whatever. And I get the opportunity to play every Saturday night in Culver City with a trio of guys, bass, drums, and guitar. And they invited me, and we used to be called Black Coffee and Jam because that's what used to happen. They used to give us black coffee and we used to jam, but the jams would get really busy. And what had in common between the four of us was that we were strongly inclined to make people dance. Even though we were jamming, we were playing whatever we wanted, but we were making sure people were dancing. And long story short, an agent from a new upcoming club called the House of Blues saw us performing. She came over and she said, "I love you guys. It's three brothers and a schmuck. This is gonna be looking perfect for the House of Blues." And we thought like, sure, whatever. But long story short, we became the House of Blues, International House of Blues foundation band. And our job was, along with three other beautiful singers slash actresses, telling the story of the blues to the mostly school kids, but 100
Okay.
people, 150 people every morning. And we used to take them around the House of Blues, which was a tremendous, beautiful building with historical references and all about slavery and the blues and the African American experience. And then we will get into the stage level and we will play a bunch of music for them. And in the evening, we will either open for an act or play with a showcase act. So I play with so many people. Aaron, I play with so many people from America and outside America. And one more job I want to tell you, and we're going to talk about this briefly because that this
Okay.
was an iconic LA Monday night blues jam at the House of Blues. When the House of Blues started, Monday night they had they called the world famous blues jam, and it was world famous. We were
Okay.
in charge of opening. We were the opening act, and not opening act, but we were the warming up. So by 8 o'clock, we were getting on stage and play some blues and stuff. And by 9:30, uh, either Dan Aykroyd or anybody from the Blues Brothers would come on stage and start entertaining.
Oh, that's
And people
cool.
started signing up for the jam, and the jam would go along with like Slash and icon like Johnny
S-
Guitar Watson. It,
Slash played with you played with Slash?
we were in the same stage at the same time for many Mondays, but what happened was
Awesome.
this: as many more famous musicians will get on stage, Taj Mahal and many others.
Didn't you play with Little Richard too or something
Yes,
too?
I play with Little Richard. Man, I will pay money to play again with Little Richard. What an experience! I've been blessed, my friend. I've been blessed by the best.
That is awesome, man. That's an experience right there. And I read that you also played with the Wailers. Is that the
Well,
reggae band?
yeah,
Uh, like Bob Marley and the Wailers, Wailers?
yeah, man. The way that what happened was we were playing with Vusi Mahasela, who was at the time like the poet of Mandela. He came to LA a bunch of times, actually twice a year or three times a year, and we were his band. He couldn't afford to come for it was Boozy and his manager, and he is such a heart. Oh man, he's my brother. We love each other. I mean, we love Boozy so much. Anyway, so we were on stage playing his South African experience stuff, and I'm from Argentina, so I understand his vibe a little more than the North American fella. So I was
Okay.
helping him getting like, oh, I know this is like this, and they have polyrhythms and stuff, and the band was really cooking. So we had a date where we were, I think we were opening, and then it was the Wailers. That was the night at the House of Blues. It was Boozy Mahasela and then the Wailers in the bill, and we were the band for Boozy, but we started playing, and it was so magical that the Wailers showed up on stage, and 2 hours later they turned off the lights.
They just turned off the light?
Yeah, the manager turned off the light because it was like, it's enough time, that's it, you guys cannot be playing forever. So since the moment the Wailers showed up on stage at our set, it wasn't even the end of Boozy's set. We were just playing, I don't know, third song, and they just showed up. They loved the vibe, they loved the music, they got into their instrument and they started playing.
So
And
they weren't
when
even supposed to be there. They just
no,
showed
it was
up and like jammed with you guys.
and smoked weed and everything was like so crazy. And
Elton John would be pissed.
Elton John will be firing me on stage, but this is a complete different moment. And I wasn't generating anything. I was just like out because I see people coming on stage. And at that point, I worked for the House of Blues so much that I'm used to it. I'm used to
Yeah.
people invading stages. Why? Because Prince will invade the stage and he will beg you to give him an amp so he can play. So I will take him
Wow.
to a gear room we had. We had a gear room, and I say like, which one of these amps you want, Mister Prince? And he said, I like your accent. Where are you from? So like, we talking about amps, and he said, I like that amp. Can you give me that amp, that Fender amp? Of course. And I would grab it and I said, by the way, I'm from Argentina and you're such a badass. Like he said, oh, I went to Argentina twice. I said, I know, we'll talk about that later. And I will plug his amp on stage and assist him and walk out of stage. And Taj Mahal will come and say, like, how come he's upstairs and I'm not on stage? All right, come to the gear room. I go, which amp you want? I want that amp. Okay, get the amp. And at some Mondays we'll have like 25 people on stage doing
Wow.
all kinds of between players and singers, and it was massive, massive. It was so much fun. When that went away, it went away into another club, which I couldn't follow up. I don't know what happened, but it went into another. There was another club that started hosting the same kind of thing, and it was just like you see the brotherhood. You see that, and this is something that you should be proud of, and we should all practice. I met so many people in my life. Little Richard is one of them, and so many, so many, so many. But the ones that struck me the most are not because of their artistry, but it's because of their humanity. They're the
Okay.
best people. I went into the bathroom of the third floor of the House of Blues one night. It wasn't on a Monday night. It was another night that I was there. And I went to the bathroom, and Joe, the bathroom guy, was supposed to be there. And he was there with two other brothers and Mick Jagger smoking a joint.
What?
And I go like, what, Joe? What's going on? And he looks at me and he said, yeah, I know. We all gonna get to jail. And Jagger turns around and he said, you okay? You smoking after? I was like, what? And it's just one of everybody.
That's
Seriously.
amazing.
Not only that, so many stories like that people strike you to the fact that I met with so many, but today's mentor of mine, my big mentor in today's life of mine, is a wonderful musician named Benny Maupin. And Benny Maupin is not only an extraordinary woodwind player who played in the album, for example, Beaches Brew with Miles Davis. He's
Wow.
also the woodwind player of the Headhunters and many other things. I wouldn't go into details, but the bonding I created, in a daily life with this guy, and the opportunities that I created for myself from learning from this guy, and why klezmer juice came about, and the struggle we had in the beginning, and then the movie The Wedding Crashers came, as an opportunity, and we never look. We went through audition. We didn't show up to the audition because we thought it was a prank. It
Oh
was
yeah.
like, oh, they're trying to prank us. Don't go. They called me and they said, where are you guys? We'll take somebody to film you wherever you are. So our audition reel for the movie The Wedding Crusher is in front of my garage. It's really embarrassing, but we thought it was a prank. So we played the prank, and then they called me and they said, we really want you guys in the movie. No, they said, we really would like for you to play the version of the Havana Gila, and give me a budget, and we went into that. So I was still thinking like, this is a prank, because they never offered me real money. They said, we'll take care of all the expenses. So choose the best studio, choose the best musicians, burn the money there. Just order the most expensive meal. We will not give you much money after, but we'll give you all the money you want for production.
Okay.
So I got this beautiful studio that was in Santa Monica and La Brea, and I got some of the musicians from the band, but also other people. And when we went to recording, we were recording. Of course, having Aguila for us is like, okay, let's get drunk before, during, and after, right? And play like, inside out and whatever. So to look good, I told the musical supervisor of the movie that we're gonna give him like three or four different ideas in tempo and expression, and they choose whatever from slow to
Okay.
fast. Oh, great, great! And then we give you a rendition of the whole thing from slow to fast. All right, so we play slow, great. We play medium tempo, great. Let's break for dinner. All right. So this guy says, "Look, the director is coming. He wants to come to the session." It was like, great. It looks like, pranks, prank, prank. They
Yeah.
bring him another. If you will see me, you will be like, you idiot, wake up.
So you
Because
were at still doubting it at this point. You're
all
like
the way,
you
I was like,
wow.
what are they going to do with this music? I was like really a foot out, a foot in and a foot out. And but when the director showed up, and um I don't know if I called my wife at the time or something. I told her who the director was, and she's an art director, so she said, "Oh, say hi for me." I said, "You know him?" "Yeah." And I said, "Do you think they're pranking us?" And she was like, "Are you stupid?" I was like, "I don't know. Anything goes." And she was like, I don't think he's into that. He's into commercials and movies, but I don't think he will do anything like it." I said, "Okay." So I was like, when he showed up, he was like a guy maybe 10 years older than we were. And he showed up with two guys who ended up being the lawyers of New Line Cinema. And he came, and we were finished eating, and we played the other versions of three, four more versions of the Habanagila. We followed whatever he wanted to do. We did something in suggestions. We were all hugging each other and kissing each other. And he takes me to the side and he said, "I gotta be honest with you." I said, he comes to like, "I wanted to prank you, but now he's too nice." And he said, "I want to invite you to the movie." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I want you to be on camera."
Oh,
I said, "What do
awesome.
you mean?" And he said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I was coming to see like, Hasidic people with the beard and and I see all hipsters, and you guys play so nice, and this music is so nice, and it got me so many images in my mind. I want you guys to be in the movie." Fantastic. I said, "That's the fucking prank I was, the cue I was waiting for. Now they're gonna prank us in front of everyone." I said, "Great. Sign these papers and la 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 la. And we'll call you back." Okay. So we did the recording all up. A few weeks later, the hype goes out, and I go like, "You see, I told you, we might be one of 20 bands they want to prank, and they decided to like, we're not good enough." Same day, somebody call or sends an email. I don't remember what happened. Then I said like, "Okay, these are the shooting dates, but before you gotta go to wardrobe and this and that and la la la." And it was like, what? So we had to go. Okay, anyway, so 3 days at whatever in Hollywood. So we go to the shooting days, and shooting days with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. I know
Yeah.
Vince since the 90s because I used to play swing music. I used to play with a band called the Jumpin' Giants
Okay.
when the revival of swing happened in the 90s, and when the whole what was it called, Swingers movie happened.
Yep.
Remember, they go in a day with Big Bag Voodoo Daddy's playing. Okay, if they would have
Yeah.
gone on a Sunday night, Jumping Giants would it be playing? But they went on a Thursday or whatever other nights. It was really hype because these people play forever. And then there were so many bands that joint ran every single night on a different band.
Really.
It was awesome. The 90s and the swing. So imagine during the day I was working for the House of Blues, and in the evening, some evenings I was playing swing music. It was just like, I was submerging in this Americana blues, you know, forever. I was like happy, so happy because finally I was learning what I loved the most which is the blues. I think the blues is the most truthful American art form. Not
Yeah.
only North American, but it's American. Why? Because the blues is what we know as the first interaction between people of different races or different tribes or different languages, and the urge to communicate. Why? Because communication in music brings unity, and unity gets the blues out, right? If you
Yeah.
really sorrow, really painful, you go, you dance your blues away. But one thing is to dance by yourself, another thing is to dance with a lot of people, right? With a
Very
big,
true.
yeah, you need, that's the human experience, you know? That's why DJs play in front of so many people, because people want to be among people, and the music becomes just a soundtrack, you know? So
Yeah.
every performer, every artist should really kill its own ego. The first thing to become an artist is to really stab your ego, and the way to stab your ego to death is to play klezmer, because he has no ego. No ego.
Okay.
I play, after the movie we play weddings, bar mitzvahs, old people, young people, museums, festivals, TV shows, and the next day at somebody's house. You have to do it all. You have to do it all. You challenge yourself to do it all. Let me tell you a story about Benny Maupin, how amazing this man is. He came to see me at Disney Hall. We played in 2007 or 2008. We had a date at the Disney Hall. We played Disney Hall and a show called Una Noche Yiddish, which translates into a Yiddish night, and
Okay.
the whole Latin American Jewish experience. So they wanted me to bring like Yiddish tangos and this and that, and what we did, and speak a little bit in Spanish and in Hebrew and Yiddish and English. Multicultural. I brought a singer named Divina Gloria all the way from Argentina. She was dancing, the other people dancing. Beautiful. We really show them that we weren't, waiting for any schmuck to do anything. We were doing it.
Yeah.
So it was great. So Benny became with his wife and enjoyed the show. And then we were talking about the show. And he said, that was wonderful. But they are waiting for you to sing for them.
Okay.
I said, I play clarinet and saxophone. I don't sing. And he said, never I know. And I went home and I started like thinking, what is the meaning of this? So a friend brought me an accordion, and I taught myself how to play accordion, and I taught myself a few Yiddish songs, and I went back to Benny Maupin and I showcased for him. And I said, this is what I've learned. And I played some songs with the accordion, and he said, great, this is great. But you sing in somebody else's music. Put something that is your own together. So
Okay.
I had a dream, because at the moment I was writing short stories about fantastic situations that happened with clarinetists. So I was sorry,
No
writing about
problem.
this clarinet player who encounters Theodore Herzl in the middle of nowhere in Russia. And Theodore Herzl says, we are moving all to Israel. All the Jews are moving to Israel. And how are we going to send this message to everybody? And Herzl says, it's you, the musicians, and passes a poem. It says, this poem in this weird language called Hebrew is called the Hatikva. It means the hope. And
Okay.
go and teach other people these things. And, I wake up from my dream and like, oh my God, what a dream. And so seriously, he was like, wow, what a vivid dream. I should put that in writing. So while putting it in writing, I'm thinking like, what am I going to do with, I got to do something with this. What is this musician going to do with the music? Because he only gets the poem. And we all know how the Hatikva with the new music sounds like. But is this the music that originally happened? And then it clicked on me. And instead of playing with the original 4/4 beat, I put it into a 3/4 beat and made it into a bar song,
Okay.
like a beer song. Dum, da, 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 ya, da, 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 ya. Kind of
So it
like
could be like
singing
an
what you
Irish drinking song in a way, but like a
e- exactly how musicians go to where people are. People don't go to where musicians are. Musicians go to where people are. So we go where people are, and we entertain them. We share and we teach them, and then we go away and we go to the next one. And And so went to Benny Maupin and played it for him with the tale of the dream I had. And he was like, "That's great. Use that in your show. That is a very good thing." So I'm thinking like I just gonna go and play music and people dance and whatever. Now thinking about how to entertain, how to tell stories in between the songs, and engage them. I only have a
Yeah.
clarinet. It's really challenging. But hey, man, I got 5 CDs out. My CDs, Klezmer Juice has a distribution deal with Arc Music International in London for 75 countries. So we
Wow.
sell a lot of albums. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's just, it's unfolding. You know what I'm saying? It's just unfolding. I see it unfolding, but again, to me, my experience is this: when you see the rainbow in the waterfall,
Yeah.
don't concentrate on the rainbow, because the rainbow is the effect of the flash of water. The important thing is to flash the water. Is the water flow makes the rainbow. It's not the other way around. You need, as again, you need to push yourself as fast as you can to jump into these opportunities, you know, and push other people to run faster and to get into a very focused artistic thing. And then if you need to go sell shoes from 9 to 5 or work in a law firm from 9 to 5, challenge yourself and flip it around, because nothing happens overnight.
That
Nothing
goes
happens.
back to that train analogy that you had too, like where opportunity is a train that flies by you at 500 miles an hour. It kind of ties right back into that.
Imagine yourself, Aaron. I am challenging you as much as I'm challenging myself. Run in your own career as fast as you can. I mean, the way we encounter each other shows that you are seeking, and seeking is
Yes.
going full speed. And the encounter of the seeker is the full speed, you know, complaining, oh, Trump, oh, what is he? Oh, I got no time, no real, I got no time to watch TV. My wife is mad at me sometimes because we spend very little time together because you're always busy. I said, hey, I heard that before, but I put my priorities, and by sharing my priorities, I hope to enlighten, to shake your own priorities and to put them straight with your age and your talent.
Yes, yes. And just like you said, like you don't really have a whole lot of time to watch TV. When I do sit down and watch TV, my girlfriend gets mad at me because I typically fall asleep because I'm constantly working my day job, working the podcast, working everything. So I'm exhausted. I sit down, relax, and I'm like, oh, I'm out.
You know what? It used to be only famous people's life, but the internet brought this technology, brought the experience to everyone. So everyone can do it. When I was 18 years old, when I was 20 years old, before leaving Argentina, I got so many projects coming to me as, you're gonna be the next Latin Kenny G, you're gonna be the next king of cumbias, you're gonna be la la la. But all came through A&Rs, all came through people who had positions in record companies or record labels. Nothing was independent.
Yeah.
You would have to work for a big guy, and I would have to be an artist of a company for us to do this. This is the human experience in terms of encouragement. That's why it's so controversial, because you wake up in the morning and you only thinking about scratching your ass, and you watch everybody on Facebook already up and running and people posting shit. So you go like, okay, what's my option? Complaining or getting up and doing? So getting
Yeah.
up and doing is so unused to, is so unused to, that now get up and do something. I watched these girls, on a YouTube video. Somebody showed me this girl that's this very quiet shit, like very quiet stuff. I was like, what is that? Nothing. It's just quiet. It's that if you want quiet, lower the volume, you fool. But they just want quiet from the source. And I
Okay.
go like, perfect, because reinforces my platform of today. And I'm telling you what is happening with me today, Aaron. This is what I'm sharing. We were talking about the past up until now. This is
Okay.
how I see what's going on today. The flow of options gotta be endless because people like options. People are raised now by many options. There's not only one option, there's many options.
Very
So
true.
people want more options. They want to hear your podcast, but they want to choose yours from 10,000 others, not from two others.
Yeah, and they want to do like they want those options and they want to be able to do like three things at once. Listen to the podcast on Facebook and Instagram while jogging or something like that.
I'm up for it, man, because there's no rest for the wicked. Now, if you think what they like in the 80s is what they like today, you're wrong. If you think what they like in 2018 is what they like today, you're also wrong. If you think you know what they like, you're wrong. Because constantly seeking is what gonna get you into swimming and non sinking. Because part of your artistry belongs to them. You have to give it to them. It's for them, it's not for you. And that energy, then master that energy because it comes right back at you. When people like what you do, you transform envy or not knowing or hate into pride, into they're proud of you, into support, into emotion. So that energy back, hey, be careful, you know, be really careful. You really need to learn how when you're in the right path and you're doing the right thing, people shower you back with this beautiful energy.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Like, the energy you receive back too is pretty awesome. Like when you put that energy out there, like I've done stand-up comedy as well, and getting that like feedback from the crowd, that instant feedback. Imagine it's the same as performing live as a band. It just pours into you and energizes you so much right away.
You just want to die right there. You just want to die. You want to transcend. You're going to go like, okay, I can be energy. I understand energy. It makes you cry, right?
Yeah.
It makes you sweat. It makes you weak. It makes you fucked up. It makes you shine like you never know. It makes you really give everything because that energy is like, oh, that's all you have? Come on, man. It's like a wild horse that says, oh, you want to ride it? Oh, you want to ride? You want to put cents? You want to put dollars? You want to put $100? You want to put $1,000? It really comes back. And you think it's endless until you run out of it and they run out of it too. Because
Yeah.
if you can maintain that, and boom, 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 like I've seen, Little Richard, for example, to me, he was like a guy made out of light with the age and the performance was not matching. I mean, the physical body of the guy and his age and the performer were a complete different person. And what I witnessed on stage with him was something that now I demand to myself. Let me tell you the experience. It
Okay,
was La
yes, please
Copia.
share.
This was the very beginning. The House of Blues ended up having different houses in different towns. So it was
Yeah.
one in Boston, one in New Orleans, in Chicago, LA, and then they opened different ones. But those were the ones that they were, and one somewhere else in Texas somewhere. I don't remember, but those were the four or five ones that they, at the time I worked for them, they were all connected. So they were experimented with broadcasting. So what they were doing is they were using the phone lines to broadcast the show in LA to different House of Blues in different parts of the country and timing the delay. It was an experiment, but they needed a
Yeah.
show. So they needed a big, House of Blues. Who we're gonna broadcast, nationwide to all, in this new telephone thing, whatever. well, let's get, Little Richard. And Little Richard said, okay, yeah, fine, I go. I do a 40-minute show, no problem. So when they told him that, it has to be with a band, he was like, okay, but I'm not going to bring my band. And he said, no, we're going to provide you with the House of Blues band, with the house band. Oh, great. They would like to rehearse with you if it's possible. And Little Richard answers, if any musician has to rehearse my music, is in the wrong business.
Why would we say that?
Because it's Little Richard, man. If you don't know how to play Tutti Frutti or all the songs that Little Richard plays, you don't know anything.
Fair enough,
You,
fair enough. I thought that's
you
where it
know,
was going, but I wasn't sure.
exactly. He said, like, I'm Little Richard. You should know my songs. It's like, it's like playing with Paul McCartney Beatles tunes. He's not asking you, hey, dude, do you know this song? He starts playing because he's assuming you know the song. So Little Richard too. So what happened was we had a crowd in LA and a crowd in different House of Blues venues all over the country, and uh, we warm up the event by playing a song or two songs, and then he walked into the stage. At that point, we had never seen him before, so we meet him on stage. He comes on stage and starts banging on that piano like is the angel of hell, man. I have never seen anybody playing and singing and putting everybody on their feet, and the energy was flowing. It was like saxophone solo, and I would play a solo, and he would come back, and he would guitar solo, and this and that. 40 minutes of non-stop madness, which I was elevated to the seventh heaven for sure, because it was amazing. And at that point, I worked for the House of Blues for long enough, so I knew different people and I had experience playing with other people. So I know when the music elevates you and elevates to a point where it's so engaging that when we finish, I had the rush to keep on going. So we begged his manager to go and shake his hand. Let's please go shake his. We brought a photograph camera. We were all excited, like, man, we just played with Little Richard, and this man was bad ass, bad. And I was like, dude, we were crying. He was so good. We were hugging and crying. And it was like, dude, go and talk to the manager. We need to meet with him. And he said, of course, come on up. So we
That's
went up to
awesome.
his green room, and he was the nicest guy. And he said, it's been a long time since I haven't played with a white boy. And I said, what about a white boy from Argentina? And he was laughing, and we were hugging, took pictures. He signed up a bunch of, I don't know, give us gifts, a huge hug, a group hug. And he said, you guys are amazing. Never give up. Never give up. This is Little Richard. Never give up.
I love
And
that, man.
oh, man. Oh, man.
I love when the people you like idolize or look up to are as cool as you hope they would be.
Beyond, beyond,
That's even
beyond.
better.
They go beyond. You then want to be like them. Then you go like, I want to be like this guy. Fast forwarding, I had an experience playing with another amazing jazz saxophonist named Yusef Latif. And
Okay.
Yusef Latif came and played with a contemporary orchestra that also Benny Maupin is involved, and is conducted by Adam Rudolph, who's everybody in that band is like a master on their craft. So he collided all these amazing people, and through grids and cues conducts this out of space music that is amazing. And we had Yusef Latif as a guest soloist one season, and he came and I spent a week with him. And he's a Muslim and I'm a Jew, and nothing brought us more together. Nothing
Right on.
brought the two of us more together. I don't know. I felt like he was my dad, my grandfather, my brother. He spoke with me. He said, Ask me any question." I had a list of questions related with music that all my friends gave me to ask him about, like harmony and melodies and experience. It's such a heart, such a heart. Uh, I told him, I said, I want to be your disciple. And he said, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. Carry on. Do what you do is very precious. You're a Jew, you're a South American Jew. That has tremendous value. Tremendous value. Use it or you lose it.
Yeah.
And you want to be a waste. Who wants to be a waste? You want to be a waste? I don't want to be a waste. So many times people said to me, do you want to be a waste? Don't do it. Do you want to be productive? Do it. So many people, I mean, support is greater than salary.
I actually really like that. Of course, you need to have a little bit of salary along with the support, but
Don't worry, the support goes beyond. Support, if you think I'm doing this for support, not for salary, the money will come tenfold. Don't worry about the money because the money is the excuse to stop everything, right? It stops
yeah.
everything. Okay, now let's go to Vegas. We don't have any money. We are not going. Yeah, as simple as that.
Be a short or no fun trip in Vegas with no money.
Exactly. If you don't have any money, you cannot manifest what you want unless you're completely out of your mind or you have tremendous support. So strive for support. You know, when you are as old as I am, you lose your core energy and you will have to milk energy out of your other sides of your life, and you will miss those good old days. But it doesn't matter because you gain more experience, so now you can relay on experience, and your experience is tremendously important.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Now you want to be really wise, absorb other people's experiences like your own.
Yes, definitely. Like learn from other people's successes and mistakes, right? Like instead of having to touch the burner to find out it's hot, be like, "Hey, Steve over there, he touched the burner and got blisters all over his hand. I'm not doing that."
In
Something along
every
those
single
lines.
level has to be the same thing. Exactly. If you really learn the basics by observation and experience, why you don't trust that? Because we don't trust ourselves in that core. Okay, work on that trust, whatever it is talking, is singing, is playing, is writing, is communicating, is all of the above. Don't cut short. uh, you know no one will shine your own life more than yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
No one will do anything more than would you do yourself for your own life. Then they will support you, and that comes full circle.
that's powerful right there, man. That's powerful. Um,
Dude, you are a powerful man like everyone else. The attitude is what matters. And I am sick and tired of finding people that don't know what the attitude is or they think the attitude is wrong. No, your attitude is right. Absolutely right. The manifestation of your attitude might be wrong, but you can change that because one thing is you and another thing is the manifestation of your acts or in thoughts, deeds and actions, right? But inside of you, you never had a girlfriend that you really love and all of a sudden you're fighting and you say,
of
okay, hold on a
course.
second, Jane, hold on a second, Jane. I really meant to say I love you. I didn't mean to say anything else but to really share my love to you, and it all came in the wrong side. Okay, it's my fault, but I can repay that. I can and repair and broadcast it in the right way. Why am I have to say you cursed at you when I like your art? You're a mother, yeah. When I like what you do, instead of saying I really like what you do, right?
Yeah.
Why saying no and mean yes? Say yes. I
Say
tell my
yes.
wife, you want me to do something? Don't assume I will alone will follow this, the signs. No, you tell me, go pick up this and do that. That's how men work.
Yes, yes. Like women would be on the couch being like, I don't you think it's kind of cold in here? Expecting you to pick up that clue and just go turn on the heat or grab a blanket. But you're like saying there, yeah, it is kind of cold in here. But if she would have said like, could you turn on the heat? You'd be like, yes. But otherwise, you're just sitting on our couch, just a little bit cold alongside her, and she's getting all angry.
Because it's not only women, it's people in general don't have uh, the humbleness to understand that by you asking somebody to do something for you is fine. Honey, can you go turn on the heater? Of course, of course. But the minute you think it's a burden to other people, whatever you need, okay, either you do it yourself or don't get mad.
Yeah.
But there's no problem in requesting things. If I say to you, hey, dude, um, can you raise your volume? Or is one thing, and another thing is like, I can really hear you. Would you mind please raising your volume until is good enough? Your attitude changes, but not because of that line. Your attitude towards me changes. So
Yeah.
you are responsible for how I perceive you, and I'm responsible for you how you perceive me. I'm not assuming that, I learned this in America. People go like, well, you don't know who I am? No, I don't know who you are. Because there's so many people who you tell me who you are. I mean, and if you cannot describe yourself, go find a dictionary and work on it. Because everyone is capable of it and is proven. The whole thing behind this is to encourage you and everybody to don't give up, man. Keep on going, keep on going. Till the end of your life. Johnny Guitar Watson, who's the guitar player who is the mentor of Frank Zappa, if you don't know
Okay.
who that
Oh
old
yeah.
black blues guy was. Anyway, he was devoted to all these youngsters that were at the House of Blues at the time and whatever. And he came and participated and loved young people. And he was in a storyteller. He was like a musician, man. He instead of sitting and playing and talking, he will be playing. And one day he had a tour in Japan and he died on stage.
Just randomly, just like fell
Well, he
down.
was an old man, but yeah, he just needed to go. And
Yeah.
what a party, man. He was playing on stage and died.
That's a way to go out right there.
Man, I don't fear death. I fear when is it going to come to me. I embrace death. One, my wife and I almost kind of like adopted a kid that ended up dying. Unfortunately,
I'm
that's a
sorry to
different
hear
story.
that.
Yeah, I know. It's life is so both ways. Um, but through that hardship, you learn so much, and that you need to be in the right place because death can come at any moment. So much rather find me playing or find me, hey, you know, dude, if I gonna die, I much rather die. If I can choose how, but nobody can. Neither how, neither when, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That we are not empowered to the end. We are empowered all the way up until the end, right? You married the hottest chick in the world. You're up there. She loves you, adores you. Then you married another one that is even hotter because the two of them love each other and they love you, and they you love a third one, and then you end up with six women who are like, your life itself, and then you die, right?
Yep, that's
Hey,
gonna happen.
it's gonna happen, right?
Yes.
Or one day you don't have to die. They come and they say you cannot go along with this anymore. They'll go away 1 second to the other. They'll walk away out of your life.
Yeah.
It's like dying, right? You get, when my first girlfriend broke up with me, I couldn't sleep for days
That's always the
until
worst one.
the worst one. Why? Because I had my hopes into something else, and then all of a sudden she called me up and she said, "Hey, you want to come over tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, but it's already late. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Come over." I said, "Okay, I'll be there like around 11:30. Perfect. I'll wait for you." So I asked my dad for his car. I drive all the way to my girlfriend's house, thinking like, the
Yeah.
best is yet to come. Here we go. and I was fully loaded and protected. I walk into the house, going into A for sure, and she starts crying, and I was like, "Oh my God, is that happiness or sadness?" I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "It's not you, it's me." And immediately I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I got a six pack of beer. I got a six pack of condoms, and I'm like three tapes and CDs to spend the night. What do you mean it's not you, it's me?" And she did the crying, and she dumped me right there with the beer and the music and the whole thing. So I drove back
Man.
home, and I told my dad, and I didn't know what to do. I drank the whole beer. I got drunk, and I fell asleep. And days go by, and I was like destroyed, completely destroyed. And my music teacher said something that, since that moment, I took everything really like it is. He said, "There's a lot of fish in the water."
Yeah. That is a very true statement.
And I go like, you know what? You're so wise. Because hope is in the future. And to understand that something is done makes you hopeless, because you have to go through that kind of like, hey, mourning, whatever. But you have to raise the banner of hope to the future, because hope is in the future. And he said exactly what I needed to hear in order for me to reload, you
Yeah.
know, and go like, okay, I already cried enough, and boom, I continue moving along. Then I took everything else without the weight of the ego, without the weight of personal, attack. When your girlfriend's parents hate you, it's not that they hate you, Aaron. They hate you. You look like a nice man. They don't hate me. They hate who you are.
Yeah.
I'm not a fighter. Everybody, somebody that go to a place in your heart at least for 40 minutes or a year, whatever it is, it has to stay there. You just embrace, open the doors of your heart and turn. This is what I did with my dad. And this is another profound experience I had. I was not getting along with my dad. Not at
Okay.
all, not at all. And that, really really put me into a very unhappy thing, disconnected and not respecting and not taking, and until Benny Maupin said, well, you can learn for what to do, and you can learn for what not to do. So maybe your dad's example is another option that you have in your hand, and you can use it to discard. That your dad is an asshole with you. Well, okay, be nice to your own kids. Your dad never give you money. Be generous to your own kids. It's an
Very
option.
true.
Exactly. So your dad has to be on top of the list, even of the list of what not to do. So when I put my dad on top of the list, I saw him shining, and I see the value in this man's life. And I started connecting with them and understanding that if we are not connected, it's 100% my responsibility and 100% his. But my 100% has to be covered. So I started calling him and connecting with him in a way that we were talking about the weather. Who cares? The fact that I was able to talk to him for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you know, is to me valuable, because he would tell me more stuff that I can put on top of the list of things what not to do.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Learning by example right there. I got a question for you here. Well, actually, it's bringing it back to something else here. Before the show started, we were talking for a minute, and the whole story you were telling me about one of your mentors being Muslim and you being Jewish brought me back to the point thinking about what you thought music was about and what the purpose of music was.
Right now or
At the beginning, I'll just introduce this part and then I'll edit my explanation of it out. But you were
okay,
saying that you can't hate somebody who you like their music of, and
okay,
it's kind of the
yeah,
arrowhead and stuff like that. And I wanted to make sure we got that into the conversation.
I think that music is like an arrowhead. Music or any
And
cultural
that does it
event.
for part one of Gustavo Bulgach right here on Uncontained. And you'll have to tune in to catch the second half of that and hear Gustavo finish that thought. Yeah, I know. It was kind of a jerk move having a cliffhanger, but hey, all your favorite shows do it. So come back and see what the purpose of music is to Gustavo. And also in the conclusion, we'll talk a little bit more about what happened on the Wedding Crashers set, along with some more great quotable moments and the 5 questions to wrap up the show as well. So, another great episode on the way, part 2 of Gustavo Bulgach. Thank you for listening and supporting the show, and please spread the word. The word of mouth is the best source of advertising, especially when it comes to podcasts. Let somebody else know you heard this episode and that they should too. Thank you for listening, and until next time, live uncontained.